Good evening, minions and minionettes. Welcome to the Thanksgiving edition of Absolute Horror. I'm Chris Dead, your host from Beyond. We have a killer lineup for you tonight. Casa de los Muertos will be discussing one of their favorite turkeys, and Jessie Sweet is bringing a little something supernatural to the table as well. We're also introducing a new segment for the show. Musician and horror enthusiast Lucky will be reviewing whatever haunting melody he's gotten his claws into.
I thank you, Sir Dead, for inviting me to the show, and I hope all the viewers out there get to know me as the musically talented bastard that I am.
Glad you could join us. Now let's hear from Jessie Sweet.
Hello, I'm Jessie Sweet, and welcome to the dark side of television. In the coming months, I'll be introducing you to some of my favorite TV shows. Last month, we brought you Dexter, which airs Sunday on Showtime. We're already halfway through the season, and if you're watching, you already know, it keeps getting better. This month, however, we are going to revisit a modern classic from 1995. It's one of my all-time favorites, but sadly, it lasted only one season. So now let's take a look at Shaun Cassidy's American Gothic.
Someone's at the door. Someone's at the door.
In my town, the American dream is still a reality. Of course, you have to know who's boss. That's Sheriff Lucas Buck. That's, Buck with a B. For those who follow my lead, life can be a paradise.
It's impressive to see you doing your job, Lucas.
But for those who don't, it can be a mighty rough road. See, we all have choices to make.
You got no conscience about anything, do you?
Conscience is just the fear of getting caught, man.
And if people are torn, it's only because they've been listening to the wrong voice. A voice that would lead them astray.
Are you a ghost? I'm your family.
Seduce them with hope.
You working with the sheriff? I'm here to help you.
Even turn a son against a father.
I ain't your son.
I beg to differ.
An age-old battle between good and evil. I'll make a deal with you.
You own my soul.
There can only be one victor.
And I've come for you.
Care to place your bets?
Our villain, Sheriff Buck, is played by Gary Cole. You might remember him as Bill Lumbergh in Mike Judge's Office Space.
I'm gonna need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow.
Our hero is played by 13-year-old Lucas Black. Black later went on to star in the film Sling Blade. Lucas plays Caleb Temple, whose family has been murdered seemingly by the sheriff. His ghostly sister Merlin serves as his guide.
Nylon stocking, according to Deputy Sheriff Ben Healy. He added that all leads are being investigated.
Shoot, I wanted to hear this.
This show is incredible. The special effects are 16 years old, but the acting, dialogue, and original storyline more than make up for that. The show's soundtrack, or score, is noticeable and provides the perfect mood. There's one downfall, as I mentioned before. The show was canceled after the first season. There's a great resolve to season 1, but we're left with plenty of room for more. Other than that, I highly recommend the supernatural thriller. That's all for my show. I'll see you next time on the dark side of television.
Thank you, Miss Sweet, for that succulent review. Now, let's dig up Lucky for his new segment, The Dark Side of Music.
Hello, friends and internet idiots. Welcome to the dark side of music with your host, me, Lucky the Lunatic. This month, we're going to take a stab at Switchblade Symphony and find out just what their insides are made of. And it looks like the answer is bread and jam. But seriously, folks, Bread and Jam for Francis is by far one of the darkest and most forbearing albums released in the last century. Released in 1997 under Cleopatra Records, this album makes the incident at Chernobyl looks like a blooming tea party. Let's have a listen to one of my favourite gloomy tracks from this album, Rampage. From its start, this album produces melancholy feelings with the song Witches, its forward-leaning rhythms and the sweet crooning of Tina Root on vocals. The band continues to impress and depress with their melodic tour de force, unleashing tragic numbers such as Insect and Fractal, which showcase some of the other band members' talents. Special guest DJ Guest, thank you, appears on 3 of the songs on the album, bringing them alive with his swift cuts. Pun freaking intended. Delve deeper into this album, we find that the music itself is arranged to suit even the most discerning of goth rockers. The stylings of this album are reminiscent of predecessors to the electronic age, such as The Cure, Joy Division, and Duran Duran. Filled with funky Indo-Asian crossovers and accentual creativity, the band makes a statement here, and that statement is, F*** you, everybody else. And let's not forget the lyrical subterfuge that is Tina Root's vocabulary. In the song Sleep, she seems to be asking forgiveness while at the same time pointing an obviously broken finger at her lover with the words, "Am I a little liar, hiding below your bed? Am I a little liar? Wish I was right." On the whole, an incredible band Switchblade is, with not too many holes in their sound. Okay, that one just sucked. Sorry. Just check them out when you can. Switchblade Symphony, several albums available at your local record store. Thanks for watching, and remember, if it's not dark and dreary, it's not the dark side of music.
This show brought to you in part by Glee Press-On Fangs.
Also, check out Glee Sparkle. It's just like regular glitter dust, only for vampires instead.
Hello and welcome again to Casa de los Muertos. I'm Johnny Halo.
And again, I'm Jamie Britt.
In celebrating Thanksgiving, I have a turkey to share.
And I have 3 new movie releases to tell you about.
So let's get to it. The Day of the Triffids. Not actually a turkey, this story from the 1951 novel by John Wyndham has had a rather active life. The BBC developed an early relationship with Triffids, adapting the novel for radio in 1953, 57, and 68. Followed in 1962 by the movie directed by Freddie Francis with Howard Keel as the hero. Filmed in color with mono sound, the feature ran for just a taste over an hour and a half. With 99% of the world's population blinded by mysterious lights from the sky, the human race is presented as the best food source for plants gone wild, who are poisonous, carnivorous, and hunt. It comes up later that Triffids seem to communicate, plan their hunting, and lie in wait, which by itself steps up the tension. The Triffids now become a plotting, sinister predator, and the few people who can see instantly become main characters. This was my personal introduction to the post-apocalypse, and I loved the concept. These Triffids, while a bit corny now, were pretty good effects for 1962. It rests easily in my top 100. Bringing us to the 1981 BBC TV series, an interesting stroll through a familiar story. The creature effects by Steve Druitt are outstanding. Character development, strengthened plot, and more credible ending make this for an enjoyable watch. This was followed in 2009 with the BBC miniseries with Doug Ray Scott, Eddie Izzard, and none other than Vanessa Redgrave. What brings us current to today is the pending 2013 remake by Sam Raimi. Delightful news indeed. Beating out Warner Brothers in a 7-figure deal, the film will be produced by Ghost House. I have no idea how well Mr. Raimi will adapt this to his vision, but I really would like to see him go a bit retro in the treatment. Trusting Sam, we're hoping for the best. No matter what the reviews, I will see this in the theater to support my artists. And with a 7-figure investment in the rights, we at Casa de los Muertos are expecting a sequel.
Coming to DVD for November, Dahmer vs. Gacy. In the grand tradition of Freddy vs. Jason, Alien vs. Predator, Salt vs. Pepper, this film delivers enough gags and gore to be well worth a visit. Using modern technology, clones are created of some of the most notorious serial killers and mass murderers such as Dahmer, Manson, Bundy, Lucas, and Gacy. Killer Eye 2, Halloween Haunt. This film doesn't get bogged down by unnecessary story or character development. The lifeless underacting of each of the girls only plays into the cheesiness of the movie. Typical slasher film with mindless nudity and gratuitous gore.
Somebody say hey! Let's get this party started. When are the boys coming?
Actually, I thought we'd have a girls' night. Check this out.
What is it? The Killer Eye, Durr. They made a movie out of that thing?
It's about a gigantic eyeball that lives in the 8th dimension.
Why are we watching this again?
Sucks.
Did you guys see that? Hey, did you hear that? Did you do something with the eye?
It's the eye! The replica I got! Somehow it's come alive! I don't know how!
The eye wants to procreate with us.
Come on, we've gotta go!
That's my kind of horror movie.
Opening in theaters this month is 11/11/11. Not so much a horror movie as a cautionary tale about the potential falsehoods of religion and how some can really be wolves in sheep's clothing. But it does offer a solid watch in many regards. It made some very compelling arguments since it involved the different ideologies between two brothers, one having denounced religion while the other a preacher, each presenting their side of the argument. The movie starts off pretty slow, but picks up as the demon characters randomly pop up and then fade into the darkness. With the exception of one scene, in my opinion, none of it was even remotely scary.
Simon Clarke, who authored the sequel book The Night of the Triffids, ranks this in his all-time top 100 films. Sam Raimi holds the original as one of his favorite films as a boy. In E.T., a Triffid appears aboard the spacecraft as one of the plants harvested by the aliens. And in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the song Science Fiction Double Feature refers to Janet in the 1981 feature. And I really got hot when I saw Janet Scott and the Triffid who spits poison and kills. And with another movie in production, Triffids live.
All three movies I reviewed are coming from different horror genres. Comedy horror, typical slasher film with the exception of the killer eyeball, and another not quite the type of horror we're accustomed to here at Casa de los Muertos, but still a good watch. I definitely suggest watching all three films.
We hope you've enjoyed your stay, and thanks for watching. We'll see you for a very dark Christmas right here at Absolute Horror.